My name is Chris Luff from GBLabs. I'm the sales manager, look after the UK. We're the manufacturer. We manufacture the space range of products. So you may have seen us at NAB, IBC, big blue stands, lots of spacemen, that sort of thing. Everything is designed and created and built in the UK. All of the software is done in-house, all the manufacturing is done in-house. We then send it out to our various other areas. We've got offices in Los Angeles, Sydney, Tokyo and Korea, so we can literally sort of follow the sun and give 24 hours to support to people. The obligatory hero slide, these are a couple of people that we're dealing with at the moment globally. Okay, SAN, NAS and space. We are NAS boxes, but that's kind of where the similarity ends with that. I mean, I guess we're all familiar with SAN and NAS technologies. The main difference are, if you look at the reds, SAN's complex to support and use, client license and software, they're quite an expensive cost of ownership. NAS, traditionally fairly low performance, limited scalability, and a few other issues which we won't go into now. We've got round that. We've been working on our OS for about the last 7 years. So we've now got blistering performance, very easy to roll out, and it's very low cost of ownership over a 3 or 5 year period. So what makes us different? We started 15 years ago. We were doing one-off things for the military, a lot of broadcasters, anybody that wanted to do something slightly differently. 7 years ago we came up with the space range of products. The reason we call it space is every time we went to see people they just said, we need more space. So it's not a space thing, it's just space. Our front end is, we're now on Core 3, version 3.3. It's getting faster, there's more feature sets being added to it. As I mentioned, everything is designed in-house, so if anybody needs anything changed slightly, it can be done. We work over standard Ethernet protocol, 1 gig, 10 gig, 40 gig. We're also playing with 100 gig at the moment, but it'll be a while before we see anything coming from that. All our protocols, Samba, AFP, NFS and HTTP, they're the protocols, that's how we link onto our systems. Performance-wise, over 1 gig, we can saturate that, so we'll get 116 megabytes per second sustained. Over 10 gig, we get up to 850 megabytes per second sustained over AFP, wee bit lower than that under Samba. Over 40 gig, we'll get 1.5 gig per second over Windows, 3 gig per second if it's Linux to Linux. So pretty quick. Tier 1, we've got 4 tiers that we work with. We've got a super tier 1, which is our SSD-based systems. That's what we'll come to. We'll talk about that in a minute, about 4K. Tier 1, our basic tier 1, is our WIPs, our work in progress. That's the spinning disk setup. On the tier 1, we can go up to 2.3 petabytes as a single volume. Personally, I wouldn't recommend that. Most people go for up to about 500 terabytes. And then they'll put more onto their tier 2. Tier 2 parking, nearline, whatever you want to call it. And we can actually take that up to just over 6 petabytes. Toolset that's built into every single box. So this is right from our Wii box, our little mobile solution we have, right the way up to our all singing, all dancing 10 gig per second SSD. We've got automation built in as standard, so based on watch folder workflow. Replication built in as standard. Much as we'd love you to have space all the way through from your tier 1 right the way through to your archive, we're realistic, we know that doesn't happen. So we happily work with virtually every other manufacturer out there for any form of shared storage. File Manager, this is just a really nice way of moving things around your network. You know, we can work globally on this if you've got a wide enough network. It's got QuickTime Cleaner built in and various other bits and pieces built in. Right, who do we work with? It's kind of a who's who of you know, the sort of things you use out there. Everything is very, very straightforward to work with apart from our friends at Avid. The way we work with those, we've got... Where's my friend that works for Avid? It's around here somewhere. Anyway, simple bin logging is built in. What we brought out in version 3.3, and there's a few things coming out at IBC, which... Where's marketing? Can I talk about it? No, I can't. Okay. Basically, we'll be using ISIS as a controller. So you use our storage as a nice fast volume, and you've got a nicest box doing all the controlling and moving everything about. Super Tier 1, this is our SSD product. Everywhere we go at the moment it's 4K, that's this year's buzzword. So IBC, NAB, we're over in, not sure where we are, Broadcast Asia at the moment I think, and then we've got India coming up. Everyone wants to know about 4K. As soon as you say to them, okay, what do you mean by 4K? What sort of resolutions are you working at? That's when they say, oh, actually I'm not sure, I'll have to go back and check on that. The Super Tier 1, we have 3 boxes. We've got a 3 gig per second box, 6 gig per second box, and we've just developed a 10 gig per second box as a one-off for the gaming industry. Our Tier 1 is what we sell the majority of worldwide. 3U 16 bay unit. you can get up to 128 terabytes in a single box. That can roll out, as I said, to the 2 petabytes. Tier 2 is our nearline. That can roll out to 6 petabytes, and that will work with anything. Ideally with other space boxes, but we're realistic. Tape archive, the dullest thing in our range. We designed that for BBC Archives about 5 years ago, so everything is archived to our systems there. It's a very good system. It makes a very nice workflow. You've got TAR for archiving, LTFS for general production work. Okay, this is on the SSD side. So we've got various capacities going along to depending whatever you need, and you can roll that out to about 600 terabytes in total if you want to. Again, very few people would do that as a large scale out with SSD purely because of the cost implications. But there's a lot of workflows where we link SSD with spinning disk, and there's a lot of workflow that goes in the middle to move files around. Give you an idea on horsepower of this box. This is our 3 gig per second. This is our baby, sort of the entry level one. Actually, all of the graphics for the 2012 Olympics were done on this system with a company called Crystal CG. Don't know if you come across those guys. Probably the most pertinent ones to look at are 42225 is fairly industry standard, 195 streams from that box concurrently, so that's everybody hitting go at the same time. 44425, 82, 4K ProRes, which we're seeing an awful lot of now, 47 out of that box. But we can also work with full-blown DPX files as well in a collaborative way. If the 3 gig per second box isn't man enough, we've got the 6 gig per second, so you've got quite a big uplift in performance, but a fairly big uplift in price as well. Other SSD products we have the Mini, which is a box that big. I've generally got one sitting in the back of my car. We designed that for the guys that are working with high files actually on site. OB guys said they like the form factor of that, but they needed us to actually bolt it in. So we've got a 1U version of it as well. Our 4K Duo. So this, it's in the range because we were asked about it a lot. It's a box that you use on set. So we developed a box which has got similar functionality, more performance at a better price point. It's a market I know very, very well. So we've got an SSD based product. It's running at the same performance as the Minis that we've just looked at, but you've got dual LTO6 built in, so it's designed to do 2 copies of your rushes as you're working, so it's a belt and braces device. Connectivity, it's Ethernet all the way. We can run fibre over Ethernet if you need the longer runs going there. Capacities up to 128 terabytes in a single box as a single volume. Spinning disk, everything is RAID 6 to give you a little bit of belt and braces. SSD is RAID 5. Key features, ultra reliable, ultra high performance. Worth saying that all of our boxes, from the smallest to the largest, have all got the ability for the guys to link in from Boxer. So for Josh and his team, if there's a problem, they can link straight in as long as you give them permissions, and they can have a look at the log files on the boxes. If it needs escalating to us, it goes over to whichever time zone is working at the time, and they can interrogate the logs, have a look, and get you guys up and running as soon as possible. Hyperspace. This is the thing we're pushing quite heavily at the moment. A lot of people are saying to us that they love the performance of our SSD because it's ridiculous performance, but they don't like the cost. But they do like the cost of our spinning disk. So what they wanted was something kind of in the middle. So our standard spinning disk box, again, you can see ProRes 4K, you'll get 12 concurrent streams, nothing compared to SSD. What they needed was some way to actually improve the performance on that. What you can do, you can add another controller and an expansion, so you increase the amount of spindles you're running it over, and you get a wee bit more performance, but not enough for a lot of people. So we brought out Hyperspace. Hyperspace is a 1U SSD accelerator that sits on top of the box. When you're actually writing files to the system, you're writing it to both layers at the same time. Performance-wise, let's look at ProRes 4K again, you're up to 31 streams, so it gives it a nice boost. It's about a times factor of 4. On most codecs. Right, so you write in, it writes to both layers at the same time. The most common one we're selling at the moment is a 1.6 terabyte version of that. Now the SSDs are designed to be flushed up to 10 times per day, so in an 8-hour working day. So the 1.6 terabytes of the most commonly used data will be stored there. Okay, if you want to pull something back from it, but it's dropped down to the space layer, you have to pull it back up and then it goes off. So it just gives you a very, very quick way of getting information backwards and forwards from the system. Okay, tier 2, I'll fly through this one because I know we're talking more about 4K. This is our nearline. So it's designed to sit there quietly. It comes as standard with up to 4 hot swap drives, dual OS SSD drives, so it's a real belt and braces device. If the drive fails, it automatically maps over to another device. So it can go up to 6 petabytes. and it will work with any other shared storage that you've got out there. So a lot of people that have got SAN systems or existing storage use these as their, their belt and braces device. Okay, the bridge. We're selling a lot of these at the moment. People have got existing SAN, so the good old X-SAN, which is kind of dying as we speak. They've got existing investment in the storage side of it, but they don't want to get rid of it. So you throw away the server, you put a space bridge on top, links into existing storage. We can't guarantee any performance from it for obvious reasons, but it turns into a space volume, so you can use that as another nearline. It's another way of doing it. Saves on investment. Everything is GUI based. Simple, powerful, intuitive. Here it is. Simple and aesthetically beautiful. Okay, so instead of just the editing, which a lot of people see us as just an editing platform, SAN, if you've got an existing SAN, we can nearline to that with or without guaranteed performance. You can either put one of our Echoes, our tier 2s in as a nearline, or you could put one of our tier 1 spaces in. So if you've got fallover, you've got guaranteed performance on the other end. ISIS, I love ISIS, bless them. Nearline and archive with project and workspace parking. Rendering for baseline or effects. Fiber and SAS storage recycled using the bridge. VFX, DPX rendering using our SSD, so again you can expand the SSDs up to about 600 terabytes. Portable editing with our Mini and OB with the MIDI, which we've looked at earlier. Ultra high speed DPX film scanning again with SSD. Simple disk-to-disk tape archive with our Space LTO, which is our archive device. We can replicate from any space unit, removable media, or other NAS. So we'll work very well with any of our competitors. We see ourselves as a central hub, almost like space Lego. So you can expand vertically, you can go widthways, whatever way you want to go with it. I'm just going to put that up. Mark put that in for me yesterday. We work really closely with the guys here at Boxer. They're our premier reseller, and they did a really cool rollout with Liverpool Football Club, and we were lucky enough to be chosen for their storage side on that. We went up there. I know nothing about football, wrong shaped ball for me. I couldn't understand why I didn't like the front end colour, which is blue, as you probably remember, which is Everton blue, which is their big competitor. So we actually custom made a couple of front ends for those, so they've got the Liverpool red and the logo on it. But Matt Quinn, bless him, who's one of their head guys up there, he tweeted this yesterday. Quite possibly the most pain-free storage expansion I've ever had to perform, and we didn't pay him for that, so that was a nice little soundbite for us and for the guys at Boxer. You'll be glad to hear that's it. So any questions you have, please fire away. Awesome, thank you very much. Thanks guys.